Chris Farley as the motivational speaker with the amount of caffeine I've had. Hi, good morning. I'm David Friedlander-Holm, and my morning meeting really should have been called It's a New Moon, but you all would have left if I put that kind of pun on there at the outset. No outline slide today. However, I have a morning meeting Venn diagram that I made once upon a time, 2 years ago. The 3 things that make a good morning meeting are baby pictures, love of something, and a precept or moral. As I was looking through this last night, I realized it doesn't say humor, so this is not funny. Thank you. We'll get it out of the way now. There will be no baby pictures. Deeply sorry. Tune in next year, sure. So I have to talk about something I love then. Well, I love the moon. Wait. No, I love the new moon. Because there's no moon during the new moon. It's dark skies, which are good. I did this as not an actual picture, but you know, you can pretend. I love dark skies because it means you can see all the other stars. It means you can do good astronomy. It means astronomy field trips to the Tuolumne Skies Observatory, where I was last weekend with 8 of you, 9 of you. It's where I get to share my love of astronomy with you. I get to watch you students become astronomy students, and I get to watch you astronomy students become astronomy teachers, which is basically the most important thing in the world to me. Astronomy teachers, you should all be them. New moon marks another thing. It marks Rosh Chodesh. So I didn't spend 10 years in Hebrew classes to forget how to think with my Rosh, and to know that Chodesh means month, Rosh meaning head, so head of the month. Very similar construction to Rosh Hashanah. I do also remember how to say Shana Tova. I identify as Jewish-ish. My grandparents were Holocaust survivors, and that's part of why my Jewish identity is so important to me. My grandfather, Ernst Friedlander, lived to be 95, and I knew him until the end of my 9th grade year. So keep that in mind as we move forward. But it is about the moons. My spelling got all sorts of bad on this slide. This is where we get all our American English day names, true facts. So, funny story, even though I picked the new moon to talk to you, I'm going to talk about a solar month. Because the math is easier, 12 months per year makes it easier. If I asked you what you were doing a month ago today, could you remember? No. Were you at Hardly Strictly? Were you watching the Blue Angels? Were you having dinner with friends and family in celebration of some special event? What were you doing 2 months ago on Mr. McDougall's birthday, during the second week of the school year? A month is maybe the right amount of time to remember what you were doing. A month from now, what will you be doing? I'll be prepping for another astronomy field trip because, well, it'll be the new moon again. So let's just keep in mind the time, a month. So we'll represent a month with a single dot. That's the time since Fleet Week, or the time until the Warriors play the Cavs next. It's at Cleveland, and LeBron is not playing these days, so I'm sure that the Cavs will win. Wait, the sports ball! So in that context, here's a year, 12 dots. A year ago today, I was enjoying the time change. It was today, a year ago, on a Sunday. It was the fall play. But in the interim, we've been through a whole college admission season, seniors. We've had a graduation. We've had a new schedule rollout. We've met new colleagues. We've met a whole new grade. Who's the Meet the Freshmen? All of them. You guys. So think back a year. 9th graders, what was the beginning of your 8th grade like? Think forward a year. Seniors, what do you hope your first fall out of high school will look like? Your first fall out of high school. November? If you put your notes away. So 4 years. So 4 years. This is 4 years. This is a high school experience. This is most college experiences. Well, they're probably a little longer, but you know. That's a presidential term. I didn't actually. I forgot to hide the bell. So go vote if you can. First appearance. That's 5th grade to 8th grade, which is a long time. Except not when you put it in context of a 16-year-old. This is 16 years. So I just assumed the average age for Bay for the rest of the presentation was 16 years old. It's 192 dots, 192 months. It's not a weighted average, just easy math. You're just 16, all of you, for today. Cool, thanks. So then, this is me. 33 years, 9 months, and a few days. 405 months. January 1985, the month I was born, was the last time that the average temperature on Earth was lower than the previous 30-year running average. It's a hot Earth here. That's a long time. But most people will hopefully live to be about 80. So here's 80 years in dots. That's 960 months. Hopefully all of you will live that long, about 1,000 months. Well, what goes into that? Well, you sleep a lot. Again, I stuck with easy math. I just hacked off a third of those dots. That's 320 months, snoozed away. But you have to. It's really important. Go do it. What else do you do? Well, actually, for the 16-year-olds in the room, all of us, you, that's the past. You can't change that. That was yesterday. That was last year. That was 4 years ago. So those are grayed out. You don't have anything to control those. This math kind of surprised me. That's 11 months. If you spend the next 6 years in schools, that is, if you squeeze out your weekends, your sleep, your passing times, all of that, that's between 10 and 12 months. So I put 11 dots there. If you choose postgraduate education, you probably should double that. But that's a surprisingly short amount of time. Your mileage may vary. You will probably work. I do. I enjoy it. This is 150 months of work. Gone. This next one, I actually literally Googled, what do Americans do? And I forgot about this one. You spend an average of 1 hour and 15 minutes a day eating. Which I think it's, at first I was like, that's long. But I assume that just like me, you have a formal sit-down dinner for 1 hour every night. You spend 14 minutes at breakfast and exactly 1 minute in the cafeteria for lunch, based on what I've seen. So that's 50 months. But you've already spent about 10 of those months, so I only put 40 orange dots there. You probably spent more time on that because infants eat super slowly. Here's a tiny spoonful. Don't open your mouth. What's the other stuff that you do? Well, this is, what do I call it? Oh yeah, screens and sports. Leisure. The average American spends 4.25 hours a day with screens and sports, generally, in leisure, which is 168 months. So you see how we got from 960 months to just this small set remaining, which averages out to 4.5 years over the next 4.5 hours a day over the next 64 years. That's probably a little low, and you might quibble with my choice to take that time away from you because it's leisure. You get to choose what to do there. So I put it back in, and my data was from the American Time Use Survey by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Makes sense, they're the right people. So this is 304 months, 9 hours a day, which is really kind of just weekends and after work, after school, 9 hours a day over the next 64 years. 64 years from now is 2082, when I will be older than my 95-year-old grandfather. But also, like, I'd be happier if I went for a run, so some of these dots should be going for a run. These two dots, these two black dots, they're a slight overestimate for how much time I have spent on astronomy field trips with you. I love doing that. And they're as close to Rosh Chodesh as possible, because the new moon has good darkness, and there are like many different schedules that I have to juggle, but I'm the one affected by the location of the moon and stars. It's highly predictable and the causation is clear. Darkness is good for astronomers and for astronomy students. Well, how do I want to spend my time? Let's start with the negative. I would rather not spend my time tying a bow tie. I spend about 8 minutes a day between biking in and changing into wearing a bow tie, and if I spend 30 years at Bay, which is another 25, that's a whole month. So I'm going to stop wearing a bow tie every day because I don't want to be doing it. I also don't want to see you passing the mics. I mean, I don't want to see you watching, I don't want to see you wasting your time. Watching groups of people, really large, 400 people, wasting 1 minute is 400 minutes. Gone, boom. So that's why we had the great microphone experiment of 2018. I think you hated it, and ninth graders be sure to ask You have a classmate about it? I think you hated it, but it actually meant less time waiting. So maybe you'll pick it up again. Okay, let's turn to the positive. How am I spending my time? Well, I'm spending my time singing. Come to my concerts this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Monday. That's upside down. I'm spending my time teaching astronomy, teaching students to be teachers. These are my goals in life. I'm spending my time voting. I'm spending my time being a good partner, a good son, a good brother, a good friend. I'm spending my time trying to be present. And I use the new moon as my check-in for this. The astronomy trip says check-in for this. Am I doing the things that I want to be doing? Am I spending my short time doing the things that make the world a better place, or am I wasting my time? Why is this important to me? Go to the next slide, please. There we go. This like freezes poor PowerPoint. This is how many months my grandfather got. 1,140. That's a lot of time. And I hope that all of you live to be 95 or older. But what I didn't tell you is my dad didn't get all that time. My dad died when he was just 40. I was 9. And it's really important to me to be present, to spend time, because we don't know how long we have. This is 400, and then this is me. This is 405 months. That red dot was my dad. This red dot is my grandfather. So how are you spending your time? How much time are you on your phone? How much time are you really present when you're spending it with friends? How much are you spending time with your parents and loved ones? How much time are you wishing it to be other times? Yeah, right now, I hear you. There's some old man in a beard talking to you, imploring you to remember how to spend your time. So don't forget me, don't forget my imploration to be present, to take advantage of your time today. You can only control one moment. That's the very present moment. So when you get home tonight and instinctively pull out your phone, I do it too. Well, not tonight, but do you want to be spending time right now on this, is the question to ask yourself. Do I want to be spending time on Instagram? Do I want to be spending time on Facebook? Maybe if you do, great, but set a little timer. Maybe I only want to spend 15 minutes on this. And then stop, because we don't know how much time we're going to get. It might be 80 years, it might be 95 years, but I'll leave you with this. Be present and be thoughtful with how you spend your time. Thank you.